Alright, to make a wall, you're going to go up to the ribbon, make sure you're on Architecture tab, and the first tool is Wall. Go ahead and click that icon. You're going to go to your type selector and choose what kind of wall you want to make. If nothing's here that you want, just pick something that's similar to what you need. You can modify later, so I'm going to go with generic 6-inch at the moment. And if I really didn't maybe know my heights of the walls or what levels they'll snap between, I can set all that up now. This demo's for the tiny home project, and I think I might do a tiny home with a loft, so let's say a couple of 8-foot levels, which would be roughly 16 feet then unconnected. So I type in 1.6, enter to apply that. And the tool is still active. I'd start drawing the walls to my tiny home. These are just rough dimensions. I'm just boxing something in, making sure that I'm staying within those 4 viewing elevation views. Just makes things easier down the road. If I've made my walls, I can click escape a couple of times to stop the tool and then exit the tool. Second escape. And we have walls drawn. If I go to the 3D view, which is either over in your project browser, the 3D in the brackets, double click that. The other way to 3D view is there's a little house icon at the very, very top you can click on. And sure enough, we have 4 walls. In this view, if this is the first time you've been to 3D, I'm going to change this to a 1/4 inch scale. And change my level of detail from medium to fine, and also the white cube there for graphic display options, so it's shaded. At this point, the walls are very, very simple, generic in fact. Back on the first floor plan, I'll also change my level of detail, fine, shaded. You can see there's nothing here. This is for the tiny home. We're actually going to go ahead and add a finish layer. So if you just click on any one of the walls in order to change its structure, once you have it highlighted, you can go to Edit Type. And if we're really making a new wall, we should duplicate it. So that way we just leave the generic 6-inch alone. Duplicate, new name here, tiny house, space dash space. EXT for exterior, 6-inch with siding. That can be any siding material. You can see the name changes, which is nice. And then if we're going to change it, we're going to modify the structure. So I click Edit button. I can preview while I'm looking at this. So right now our wall was a copy of the generic 6-inch. There's just one item. It's called structure by category, 6 inches. We're going to add one more layer here. Let's go to Insert. And while that's highlighted, I'm going to click the Up button to put it outside of the core boundary. And we're going to give this a thickness of 1 inch, symbol Enter. Or 0 space 1 will also work there. Outside of the core boundary, we're not going to have structure. We're going to make that a finish. So I just click inside the box and I see a drop arrow. Finish 1. The material, I click inside the box where it says by category. Click the triple dots to browse. And you're welcome to scroll through and try to find finished materials. For example, here I just know I want siding, so I just type it in the search window. Siding clapboard comes up. Double click on it. And there we go. So we have kind of a generic material still, which we could change that actually. Structure. Let's change that material out. Lumber. We'll make up that core area. Softwood lumber. Double click on it. Selects it. So we kind of a wood material there and a finished material on the outside. Looking good. Click OK to leave this structure window. Click OK to leave this properties window. If I click off and zoom in, we should see detail now on that wall. If your walls are showing up with thick lines, don't forget you may have not toggled the thin, thick line tool so everything is nice and thin. And with that, we should now be able to hold Control and left click on each of our other 3 walls to highlight them. Go to our type selector, and in this list we should see tiny house, exterior 6-inch with siding. Click off, zoom in, there they all are. If for some reason your walls are backwards, siding's on the inside, no worries, just click once on a wall and you'll see little flip-flop arrows to swap that back and forth. And that works on doors, windows, pretty much everything has these flip-flop arrows. Go back to 3D view. There's our siding, it's showing up. All these lines in the background, by the way, have to do with views that you see in the project browser. Each of these represent different heights and therefore different views when you'd slice that model or this building horizontally. Back to first floor. If you think you would know your dimensions, you can click on the dimension annotate tab, align dimension, and what we're going to do here is actually change our option from wall center line to face of core, because that structure when we set it up was outside the main area but inside of the siding. So right there that line highlights, I click there. Over here I zoom in, I left click again, and then now I can left click to place, escape, to get rid of the tool. If I want to change the length of this wall, I highlight this one, this turns blue, I click on that and I go 20, enter, and shorten that right up. I'll put one more dimension in to control my width of the house. If I want to control this length again, I have to pick one of the opposite walls. But this where it gets a little tricky. We have a temporary dimension also in the way. I just move that out maybe a little more, 13.5. Sure, there it is. And let's just go 10 even. And just display or examples. The only thing that really matters here is that dimensions go to the core boundary, which will be our stud layer down the road. Dimension lines do not go to the outside finished materials. You can change walls after they're made. So if for some reason you had the wrong wall type, you can go in and edit structures. We can change heights after they're made. Maybe I want this to be 10 feet. So first enter confirms the box, the second enter key applies it. You can also enter and then also click apply at the bottom down here. There's multiple ways to modify these walls, and the properties is a big area we spend time with adjusting items to make them the way we want them to be. But that's the basics of walls. Find the wall tool, choose your type selector when drawing. Try to set up as much of the height information as you know ahead of time, then draw the walls you want.